Hi, folks. Welcome to New Texas Podcast. My name is Rafael Farias. I'm a teacher at GT English, and we are here today with a very important guest.
Yes, I'm Stephen Steltenbol, also a professor a teacher at GT English, and we are here today with Bruna Caltabiano. Hello, Bruna.
Hi, thank you for inviting me.
Glad to have you here.
Yes, Bruna, she's one of the teachers at the CELTA course from Cambridge, and I've met her earlier this year. And she's here to talk with us today. She came all the way from São Paulo to give us a seminar or a class in that sense. And what can you tell us about yourself, Bruna?
So first I'd like to thank you for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be here and to meet you in person because we've met before but just online. So I'm Bruna Caltabiano. I've been a teacher for over 20 years. And I own a small school in São Paulo named Caltabiano Idiomas, and I work with students and teachers. I've been a teacher trainer for over 10 years, and I'm a Cambridge CELTA tutor. My major is psychology, and I think that's all for now.
Yeah, great.
We'll get there. If you want to know more, then we can talk.
Sure. Welcome to Goiânia, Bruna.
Thank you.
Is it your first time here?
No, it's my second time, actually.
Second time?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's not a lot as well, right?
Yeah.
No.
Great. You have some friends here, right?
Yeah.
Are they teachers?
Yeah. All
Oh,
English
nice.
teachers. Yeah.
Great. Sure. Bruna, and can you tell me a little bit more about your routine nowadays? Like you told me that you work with teachers and also with students, right? But most of your time, what are you doing?
Yes. Nowadays, I work as an academic director at my school. So I don't teach that much, not students. So I have a routine as a school director and as a coordinator as a small school. So I observe teachers. I give training like pre-service and in-service training. I do all these kind of things. I conduct satisfaction surveys.
Mini courses like the one you're going to do?
Yes, satisfaction surveys. And also I work with other schools, like the ones like what I'm doing this afternoon with your teachers. So I've done courses to many other schools. So this is something that I usually do. So some other schools, they invite me to train their teachers or to give mini courses to their teachers. So this is something that I do with my team. And I work with other schools too.
Great. And do you like it?
I love it.
Nice.
I love.
Working with other schools is really nice, right? You get to know more people. I think it's
great.
Yeah.
It's great because then I mean like the area is such a small area.
Yeah.
We get to know each other and we can grow together.
Sure.
And get a better quality life.
Do you think that in our market, let's say, are the teachers like, how can I express it? Like, are they friends? Do you think it's a lot? Is there a lot of competition? People or no? Like everybody loves each other, and
there's a little bit of everything.
Okay.
I think it's very nice if you can join an association like Brastiço, for example, because there people tend to network and get to know each other. So there are many friends. For example, my friend from Goiânia, I met at Brastiço conference.
Okay.
And then we became friends. And then just before coming here, I visited my friend's school. And then it's very nice to see, and we are exchanging some ideas because I have my own school. And then this afternoon I'll be with you and with your teachers, and we can exchange some business ideas too. Why not?
Sure.
So this is something that we could do. I do that with Seven too, because I'm a CELTA tutor where I met Stephen at Seven. So I think it's possible for us to be partners, not competitors.
Sure.
But it's not with everyone and with every school. I think this is something that we can, let's say, cultivate.
Sure. Being really honest with you, I think that the market is so big, right? We have, in Brazil, people do not speak English, and most of the people, right? So we have a very big market. We don't need to be like fighting for the same share, or like I'm not gonna.
We don't need to be predators.
That's it.
Basically,
Bruna. She has her school. That's awesome. She's here helping us, right, with our teachers. And I think that's fantastic. I don't know why people they are like, oh no, I'm not gonna be friends with other teachers
Definitely.
you know.
When I mean that it's a small world, because we can get to know each other,
Yeah.
we can work together, and it's still you can do your business, I can do mine, and sometimes we can do something together.
Yes, it's true.
It's possible.
Yeah, and just one question that popped up in my mind. You said you are now working with Seven, right, as a CELTA tutor, and what do you have to do in order to have CELTA in your school, like to be able to offer that?
Yeah, it's not part of my plans really.
Okay.
There are so many things I have to do.
Okay.
So I would like to continue as a CELTA tutor at Seven. I was trained there because I took my Delta course there.
Okay.
And then, so I have this agreement with them, but you need to have the space and many requirements, and there must be like an opening because there must be like the need. For one more center in São Paulo. I don't think it's the case, and it's not really part of my business plan or idea to have a center there. So I prefer to be to work as a freelancer with Seven, and to help other teachers, and to have this partnership with them really.
Okay.
And
Awesome.
continue with my courses for teachers. So we have like Cambridge courses such as prep courses for the Cambridge Proficiency, Advanced and First, TKT too. So we offer those courses for teachers and mini courses like the one I'm having this afternoon.
Awesome. Still on CELTA, can you tell me a little bit more, like if someone is watching and they have never heard about that?
Sure.
I think that in Brazil, people, they're not really familiar with certifications for teachers. And till nowadays, we have a very informal market, right? Which is great because good teachers, they make a good money. They can really have a good income. But on the other hand, we also have really bad teachers that they commit some mistakes with students, and so students they get a little bit traumatized, and then they don't want to study English anymore. So we have these two things. But CELTA, I think it's a way to enter in this world properly.
Yeah, sure. So CELTA is a pre-service certificate. So that would serve for teachers who have never learned anything about teaching. However, in Brazil, it's usually taken for teachers with experience. So the market here in Brazil is a little bit different. So
because of the price.
Because of many things.
Okay.
Because we don't need an initial qualification to start teaching here, as you said. So you could take the training at your school. Sometimes you don't need any training to start teaching. You could start teaching private students, for example, and still start your career as a teacher. So teachers start teaching in many different ways. I think it's important what they will do after a while. So what kind of teacher do I want to be? And then the CELTA course is a very interesting course because it's very practical. You're going to have input sessions, you're going to learn how to do things, and you're going to practice with real students, and you're going to have feedback. So this is basically what's going to happen. So you're going to learn, and you're going to apply whatever you have been learning with feedback.
Great.
So this is very interesting.
Awesome. And we have other options, right? Like deep CERTISO, because deep is like Delta.
Yes,
right?
Yes. We have this option too, and now you can have it online, just like CELTA, because in the past you could have those courses. They were different before the pandemic, so we have this option too.
CELTA was not online.
You could have partially online, but not teaching practice.
Okay.
Now you can have it 100% online. So you can have CERTISO, and you can have CELTA. They are, in these terms, they are similar courses in which you're going to have lots of practice, and you're going to have teaching, and you're going to have feedback.
Which one is better? I think that question is like many people ask that, right? Which one is better?
Yes, I shouldn't answer that. Yes, as a CELTA tutor, I think I
pass.
Yes, I'll pass. I'll pass because I have my preference.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, but
because I work with one of them.
Yeah.
Then, yes.
But for teachers starting their career now, what I found from CELTA is that you really learn how to structure your lesson, you know. At the beginning, perhaps you don't know what you're doing and how you should do it, and it gives you a pretty clear overview of how a lesson should be structured. And something that, touching the point that you mentioned before, that underqualified teachers, I see that a lot of times they don't care whether something was learned during that lesson. And CELTA teaches you to check that. It's like you have to check every lesson if the target language was achieved, you know? And it's not something that you just throw it at a student and whether they learn it or not doesn't matter. Well, it does. So I think that's a very efficient tool, you know?
We need to think about teaching and learning, not only about teaching. Yes.
Yeah.
Because this is the thing.
This is the thing. Yeah, I agree.
Not
100%.
everything that is taught is learned. So we need to think about this. And I think it helps you raise awareness too.
Sure, 100%.
When you have this self-assessment right after the lesson, for example, at CELTA. When you have to
you know,
think,
what
to
I really
reflect.
liked about CELTA, the feedbacks.
Yeah.
Wow, that's really nice. Of course, if you know how to if you know how to apply it, and also if you're humble enough to accept it,
You
right?
need to be mature.
Yeah, you need to be mature, because if you're just like a cocky asshole, you're not gonna say, "Oh, fuck it, I'm gonna continue doing the way I'm doing." So then you didn't learn anything.
Yeah, you learn nothing.
You know, so. Okay, congratulations, you paid the course. Probably you failed because, right? So it's complicated. But yeah, we have people like that. I have worked with some teachers that they had their own style and they would not change. Like, no way.
Yeah, but of course, Cambridge can make mistakes, of course, but we're talking about a huge institution that has done research on the topic for decades, if not centuries.
Yes.
Then you come and tell me that you have a better method than they have,
the teachers
and you figure it
nowadays
out by
say,
yourself.
I have a method 3.0 that's going to teach English in 6 months.
Yeah, it's like again.
Well,
it's not that it's flawless, but you must listen to them to then develop your strategy.
Sure.
You know,
That's exactly what I think. At least you can make informed decisions after the course.
Yes.
Yeah.
You should at least try things out.
Yeah.
So I've always done something this way. So try.
Yeah.
At least try to do in a different way. And then after the course, you might say, okay, I've tried and I don't think it works because of this and that. But then you're making informed decisions, which is totally different.
It's totally different.
Why do you do things the way you do? And then you say, I don't know, because I've always done that. That's not a good answer.
And we have lots of different methodologies, right? Like drilling, some methodologies, like they're all the time they're drilling things. Like Kaplan, I think Brazos, they do that. You know, they're all the times, you know, drilling. And you know, it works. You know, sometimes it works, but well,
yeah, I think if you have a bit of a scientific approach to your method, like you have to test whether your technique is efficient or not, and not only use it because you love it or because it's easy, you know,
and because you think it's the best one.
And you need to know.
It's only your opinion, right?
Yeah, but it's interesting for you to be open, especially because you're taking a course. So why you're taking it?
Yeah.
Something interesting that I always talk to candidates is that CELTA is different from the other Cambridge certificates. So if you have the C2 level and you go to school, you sit the exam, and then if you have the level, Cambridge is going to issue the certificate. That's all. But CELTA is different. If you're not willing to learn or to change anything,
to improve,
it's very difficult for you to
be approved.
Yeah, to finish the course really and to be successful.
You'll probably fail, right?
It's not something like, oh, I'm a good teacher, so I'm going just to show Cambridge and they're going to give me a pass A.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the way it happens.
Yes.
So it's different. So why? Because there is no test. You're not going to show off like, oh, I'm going there, I'm teaching a lesson, and then my tutor is going to say, excellent, amazing, and then I will have my pass A.
No.
It doesn't happen this way. So it's different from the language certificates.
Yeah.
You really need a process. You need to show improvement. You need to try things that you have never tried before. because everybody has something to improve.
Oh, sure. Definitely.
Even after taking all the
All
other
the- yes.
certificates, the diploma, the DELTA,
Yes.
there is something to improve.
Yeah.
I know the areas that I still have to improve. So if somebody comes to one of my lessons and observe one of my lessons, there are things that I have to improve.
Sure.
Even having
Yeah.
a DELTA, so doesn't matter. We always, there are things for us to improve. So this is something important to know. It's different from the proficiency, for example. Oh, I know so much, so I take the test, I get my certificate. CELTA is different.
Yeah.
You really need to be involved. You really need to want this.
Yeah.
If you don't,
Yes.
I remember like I slightly, not negative because everybody expected this, but I remember on one of the last weeks, you would look at the whole class, everybody was so tired and everybody was so drained. And then you're like, oh, we had no idea it would take this long or this much work. But it is worth it. Like there is a lot that you learn in the process, but it's just really time consuming and the workload is great.
yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's
We tell you before, like
Yes.
the interview in the process, but I don't think when we let you know, like you really understand
Yeah.
we
what
don't
it
process
means.
it. Yeah.
I think that the candidates before starting the course, they have no idea
Yeah.
of what's gonna
Yes.
really happen. You know, that's for like especially if you're doing the 1 month way, right? 1 month course, that's impossible. Like that's insane. You know, I do not
The
recommend
intensive
anyone
one.
to do it.
Yeah.
You know, because it's really heavy. The one you did was
Two and a half.
2.5. Yeah.
2.5.
2.5.
It's
It's
manageable.
it's pretty intensive too.
yeah,
because
it's
we have
semi-intensive, right?
Yeah, because we have the other one that is
A month.
1 month, 2.5, and the other one that is like 5 months. So
Yeah.
this one is pretty intensive.
Yeah, 5
too.
months. I think it's a better
Yeah,
idea,
yeah.
right?
But it's still a lot of work. Too.
Yeah, for sure.
Because, like when you take the 1 month course, you're not working at the
Yes.
same time. So at least you have all,
Exactly.
All the
all
time.
the time
Mhm.
to plan your lessons and to dedicate.
The
When you
assignments, right? We sometimes forget about them, but we have the
We
assignments.
have this for assignments
Yes.
to write. So when you're taking this one that you have taken, you are working, and
Yeah.
then
Yes.
you have other things to do. So this is something that you
Yeah.
have to take into consideration too. It's a lot of work, but almost 100% of candidates after they finish, they think it was worth it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Every minute.
Oh yeah.
This is true. This is true, and it's nice the feeling of accomplishment,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I've done it. Damn it! Yes.
Yes.
You know, it's really good. I think it's
They're
it's
dying
something.
to finish.
Yeah.
But when they do, like after a few months, they say, "Oh, I miss feedback.
Yeah.
I remember some of the input sessions. I would like to," and they keep in contact.
Yes.
And they like to meet us again, so it's nice.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, it is a really, like it really adds to your career,
Yeah.
but it's not, as you said, it's not, if you don't comply to their needs, you're not gonna have a good time or you're not gonna pass basically. So it's like, it's also serious work to be done. And like,
Oh, lots
It's a
of
learning
teachers
experience.
they give up, right?
yeah, and like I remember
They
my
do give up.
colleagues,
Like I remember in the course, like I think 1 or 2, they gave up.
Yeah, it happens sometimes.
Yeah.
yeah,
Right.
we pulled the all-nighters. Sometimes you're at 3 a.m. studying. I haven't done
Yeah.
that since I was a teenager, and I did it
Yeah.
again.
Yeah, it's not easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they just, I think if just like you said, if you don't really want it,
Yeah.
you need to really
That's
want
why I
that.
ask, why do you want the certificate? Because you really need to want it,
Yeah.
and you really need to be willing to do what you have to do.
But it's a really good idea, for example, if you want to, I mean, if you're a teacher, having CELTA can be very, can make your career safer. You know why I say that? Because let's say that something happens in Brazil and you're fucked. Okay, you can try to teach abroad, right?
Yeah, this is something that really happens, even
Yeah.
if you
Even
just
if it's so,
decide,
yeah, even if it's okay, right?
If-
Everything's
if
fine, but
everything's fine,
I want
yeah.
to teach abroad. So you can go. You can probably they're gonna hire, right, a person with CELTA, right? The chances are higher, I think.
Yeah, it really happens
Yeah.
because some people said, "Oh, does it really happen?" can I really go abroad? Yes.
Yes.
In the last day of our course, I show some videos from people who are living abroad right now. Yes, just to show that it's really possible
To teach
yeah,
there,
and
right?
some of them they're Brazilian people who are teaching at places in which English the first language.
Yeah.
So even if they are speakers of Portuguese as their first language, they are hired.
Because the schools
because
there,
of
they
CELTA.
assume that you know how to teach.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah,
so for them that's what they need to know,
yes.
right? You know
of
how
course,
to.
you also need a proficiency certificate,
Mhm.
such as the CAE or CP, the Cambridge Advanced or Cambridge Proficiency, a C1 or C2 certificate plus CELTA, and then it's
And then
a
it's
good
fine,
combination for
right?
you to try out something.
Probably you can find a job this way, right? If you have a C1 or
Yeah.
C2 certificate plus
Plus
CELTA.
yes, you could at least
Yeah.
try it out. So we have many
I have a friend
examples.
who's teaching in Australia.
Yeah.
You know, he has CELTA and CP, so
Yeah, we have
he has both
students
of
too.
them, and then he's there teaching. Like he's teaching Gold Coast, you know, in
Nice.
Australia. Like a very nice life. Come on.
Nice.
And he's teaching there, like having a great time. You know,
Chilling.
chilling. You know, in Australia. So it's really this is really
Nice.
interesting, right?
Yeah.
And like Australia, the first language is English, right? And he's Brazilian, but he's there teaching people.
Yeah, that's okay. That's
You
okay.
know?
We have Sautis there too. We have a Sauti that now is a coordinator in Vietnam.
Oh,
We have Sautis who live in Russia. We have
Yeah.
Sautis everywhere, actually.
it's very. This is really nice, and you can feel more. I don't know, like if everything goes wrong,
It's a plan B.
it's a plan. You know, because like we don't know what's gonna happen. Being
There
very
is
honest,
one
right?
Sauti, she's from Uruguay. She took the course in January, and she took the course in Brazil because that was the one in which she could take like in 1 month. So she took it in January because she would travel right after the course. And when she got there, she was moving to Australia. She asked, "Can you just give me a proof that I took the course because I'm going to look for a job as soon as I get there?" And I sent her provisional certificate. She found a job the next day.
You
and
see?
she sent
Damn.
us the email like,
The next
"Don't
day,
believe
like,
it."
come on.
It was literally,
Yeah.
I sent that on one day, and she sent an email like the reply was, "I found a job."
Wow, that's really great, right?
And yes, so it's something
That's
amazing.
fantastic.
And that's just to testify to the level of the certificate.
Yeah.
It's a Brazilian teaching English
Yeah.
in an English-speaking country.
Yeah. She was from Uruguay, not
Gotta
Brazil,
respect.
but
Uruguayan,
I mean,
yeah.
South
Yeah.
American.
Her first language is Spanish. So.
Yes. So it really happens,
Yeah.
and it happened like this year.
Nice. This is
Last
really
time.
great. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Bruna, let me just change the subject a little. What's the biggest challenge on teaching adults? We teach basically adults. That's our public, and I feel that it's really difficult to make them study, to
Do their homework.
demand homework. Something that it's not easy, you know. Like we've been trying to have new solutions, you know. One thing that I think that has been working very well, it's try to use technology, you know. So sometimes when we have an app or maybe a platform or I don't know a podcast, something like that, maybe the students they are more engaged to study. But it's really difficult because people don't have time. You live in São Paulo. I think she knows this better than us, right? People they are like always working. So, what do you think about it?
Yeah, I think time is a big problem, and also sometimes they have students who have studied it at all schools.
Yes.
So they even sometimes bring materials from all schools and say, "Oh, can we use this material? Because I bought the last time I studied English, I bought this book." I said, "Oh, this is not really what we use here, but I have this one too," and they have like all intermediate books.
Yes.
Basically speaking, on the market. So I think this is something difficult because they have tried out many methods, many different courses, and it seems that they haven't learned or they are at an intermediate plateau.
Yeah.
If they got there.
Which it happens a lot, right? The intermediate plateau is
Yeah.
something real.
Yes.
You know?
If they got there, some of them
No.
they aren't even there.
They're
And
like A1.
Because I believe they need more than what they are doing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if we could. I don't know if we could transform our lessons into what they are expecting.
Okay.
Just fun, something engaging and fun.
Yeah, it's not
Only
possible.
speaking.
That many
And then
teachers
no
promise
homework,
that, right?
And nothing else. And
Yes.
then I still believe that if they spend like 1 hour studying, they would have to spend 1 hour. Like they take like a 2-hour course. They would have to have these 2 hours in their houses
Yes.
to study, to do homework, or to do a listening activity, or to do something
And
else.
and that will be 4 hours a week,
exactly.
which is
Exactly. So
Right.
so those people sometimes they want to say like, oh, I want to sit 4 or 5 hours with you. I want to take an intensive course,
Yeah.
and then I ask them, but will you have other 5 hours to sit
By yourself.
by
By
yourself?
yourself.
Because I
'Cause-
still believe that's the way they would learn.
me too, 100%.
And then they
100%.
say, I know, but and then sometimes we get to the point that we teach one-to-one. Sometimes at
yes.
your schools and at my school, and then sometimes they say, okay, so you have to do some activities that you do at home. We will have to spend like some parts of the lesson
Doing that.
doing that because you need to do them to better understand some
Yeah.
things, to retain something, because otherwise it's difficult for you to learn something here and never practice. We cannot go on sometimes.
I think it's impossible. Like being
Yeah.
really honest, only if you're like a genius. You know, you're very
there are many. I don't like to say
No?
impossible because there are people who
yeah,
who learn at many different
Yeah.
ways. I don't know.
but it's very difficult. Let's
But
say,
it's very
right? Yeah.
unlikely, maybe, or difficult. But I don't know. People learn at different ways. But
Yeah.
I still believe that for you to learn, you need to practice and practice many hours.
Mhm.
That's what I believe. And I think people, first of all, they don't have those hours and they don't want to spend those hours practicing.
Yes.
If they have some free time, they
Yeah.
want to do other things.
Yes. They don't want you to study English.
Yeah.
But that's a good point you mentioned because, well, if you have one lesson a week, you have 4 lessons a month.
Yeah.
And then let's suppose you don't do homework, you don't study by yourself. Like in 3 months, you had 12 lessons, 12 hours of lessons. You haven't learned anything. Like it's not enough time to learn any skill. And we're talking about a different language. So if you come with a realistic expectation, you say, oh, I'll have 2 or 3 lessons a week, and I'll study another 2 or 3 hours outside those lessons. And actually, I'm going to make an effort to watch movies with subtitles, to listen to international music, and try to understand. So it's going to be more than just this little time with my teacher. If you do that, then you'll learn.
Yes.
Yeah, and if you think the way we learned, I don't know, I learned when I was, I started learning when I was a child because I really liked the language. I wanted to be a teacher since I was 7.
Really?
Yeah. Yes, that was my dream.
That's
To
cool.
be an English teacher, not a teacher.
Oh,
Yeah, not any teacher. I wanted
That's
to be an English
different.
teacher when I was 7, yeah.
That's
I used
nice.
to teach like my dolls and I had this board, it's true. But then I gave up being a teacher. I
Mission
wanted to be
accomplished.
yeah, I wanted to be something else when I
Mhm.
became like a teenager. I said, no teacher, I don't want to be a teacher anymore. But then I wanted to be a teacher since I was 7, an English teacher. And then, but then my point is, when I started studying English, I started learning because of songs. I was a fan of Bon Jovi.
Bon Jovi.
And then I used to listen, but we didn't have internet yet.
yes.
Yeah.
I'm older than you, so there was no internet. How did you get the lyrics?
Yeah.
There was one magazine, once a month,
That's true.
Letras Traduzidas.
Oh.
Have you ever heard of that?
Yeah, I think I've heard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember there's a website with that same intention.
Okay, but website, no website.
No,
at
no
the
website
time,
at
okay?
this time,
No
right?
website.
Proper
When I
magazines,
was
yeah.
a teenager, there was no website.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So no website when I was a teenager. So there was this magazine, and then you would pray that the song you liked would be there.
Mm.
And before that, you could just try to understand something, and some of the CDs, they would come with the lyrics. Some others no. So you have to try to understand. And that was great practice, actually.
Yes.
Yeah.
And FISC, the English school, they would have some leaflets with some lyrics and the translations. So we'd love to be friends with someone who studied there, so they could get some and
Yes.
give it to everyone.
Nice.
That's how we would get
Yeah.
lyrics and the translation. You wouldn't have it from anywhere else. So that was something very interesting. So I included my English because I love music, so I included it like every day. Every day I would listen to something in English, and so that was part of my everyday life. Our students, sometimes they say, oh, but do you watch it in English? No, because when I'm watching Netflix, I want to relax.
Yes, true.
And then they watch it in Portuguese.
Or I watch it with my wife, and she doesn't speak English.
Yeah, but I say, okay, but at least the audio in English.
Yeah.
And then the subtitles in Portuguese. And then I think, but how come somebody wants to watch it dubbed, actually?
Yes.
Because it's so
it's
annoying.
horrible.
Yeah,
The
I've always
voice
thought it was
acting,
annoying.
it's
But some
not the
people like it. And then, so we needed to try to think. And maybe in my time, having something like the original of something was so rare.
Yeah.
And when we had this opportunity, everybody celebrated this opportunity of having like a movie in English.
Mm-hmm.
That was something difficult.
Now this is the opposite, right? People like to...
Because you wouldn't have like something in English. You would have everything on TV would be in Portuguese. So maybe it's too easy, I don't know. But people need to include, I think, as you said.
Yeah, I just don't like the excuse, because in Europe, for example, it's clear the difference between the countries that dub and put subtitles in their movies. The quality of the language speaker, the English speakers, let's say, it's completely different, And of course, it takes a little bit more effort, but it's reading a little bit. Like, come on, it's not that difficult, and it changes your perception of the language. Yeah.
I definitely. So I think if we can discover what our students really like, and try little by little to show them that they could include that in their routine, maybe it could work with some students at least.
Yes.
And if it works with some students, we should be happy.
I work a lot with business English, right?
Mm-hmm.
So most of my students are CEOs, CFOs, and C-level students, right?
Okay.
And it's really hard because most of them, they do not have time. That's it. They can have their class because they block their schedule, right? So it's blocked to the class. All right, they can have class, but they cannot study. So that's really hard, sometimes, because you want your student to grow, to speak English better, and they are not having the time for it. So one thing that I really try to do is like make it very clear. Sometimes they say, I want to have 4 classes per week. I say, but why? Why? If you don't have 4 hours to study, like you said, it's not going to work, It's just like repetition. We're going to be repeating, and it's just like conversation classes if you are not a B2 at least. I think, like, of course, they're important, but only conversation class, like when the teacher... like a conversation, when there is no methodology involved. I don't know if it works, I think you're going to be in the same place,
I agree with you, yes. Which is very different from teaching some strategies,
totally.
Teaching something.
Like a speaking class.
A speaking lesson is
right?
totally different, yes. On the other hand, like these C-level students, sometimes it's better than nothing. Like,
yes.
They have 1 hour lesson. That's what they can do without homework.
Yeah.
This is better than not doing anything at all.
Sure.
Because if they stop,
they're going to lose
they're going to lose everything they have learned. So it could be better to have this 1 hour lesson. So I think there is a moment for us to also have empathy.
Sure, yeah.
Because students, they are different. So not all of them are lazy, or we cannot say no.
No, I don't think they're lazy, because where they are, they're not lazy people.
They don't want to, but some of them are because they don't want to watch Netflix in English.
That's laziness.
But that's sheer laziness. But not all of them, and then I think sometimes it's better to have them once a week, at least to speak something, even if they don't get to learn so much. As you said, this conversation class, they will not they will be there, but at least they will be there.
Yes, I agree.
If they don't speak English for a year, for example, then they will not be there. So I think sometimes you need to have empathy to see what the student can do at this time, and be patient
Yeah.
too. But
They have family, right? They have
Yeah.
their
but what I
wife.
think it's important
husband.
in this case is to align expectations.
Yeah.
So you have just 1 hour. You don't want to have the workbook because you're not going to do that. That's okay. But this is what we can do.
Yeah.
Once a week, 1 hour, without doing homework, without studying at home. That's how far we can go.
Yeah. Yeah, you have
Which
to
is
be
not
really,
far.
really clear, right,
Yes,
with
we
these
can.
children.
Maybe we can keep your English this way. You're not going
Yeah.
to forget everything you have learned, but we cannot like progress that much.
I
It's
agree.
more like a maintenance kind of lesson
Yeah.
than.
On the other hand, if you could dedicate 1 extra hour, if you could do this, and that, and maybe you can
Little by
introduce-
little,
yes,
right?
But I think it's important to align expectations.
I agree, 100%. Yeah, and I try to be very honest, with them. Say, hey, that's what I can do. My work stops here.
Yeah.
So, and then yours starts. So this is something that we need to talk with
I
them,
think it's
so
important too.
they understand, right, what we can do, what we cannot do, in this way, right?
Yeah.
No.
Great.
True.
Let me see here, just the time, how much time we still have. Yeah, we have a little, like 10, 15 minutes still.
Cool.
Okay, what do you want to ask her? Go ahead.
So, Bruna, which one do you like best? Teaching students who are at the beginning of their journey, or would you rather teach a teacher who is already developed? What is your preference?
Nowadays, I usually teach teachers more often. Doesn't mean that it's my preference, but I love I love teaching teachers, and I think this is the kind of job that in which I can really make a difference. I mean, because then I teach them and they can teach so many students. But it doesn't mean that I don't like to teach students. I really love teaching them, and I teach some of them. So in my week, when you're asking about my routine, I give many training courses. I do this coordination job at my school. And but I do have a few students who are students too.
Not teachers, right?
Yeah, but I have many teachers.
Teachers are students
Yeah,
too,
but
right?
I have many teachers as students, and I have many CELTs, and they take up lots of
Yes.
like time, let's say. So I work more with teachers nowadays, but I love both. I just work more often with teachers now, but I think it's very nice and very rewarding to teach students too. And I think it's also interesting, even when you become a teacher trainer, for you to remember how things really work.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you have been training teachers for a while, but you have never been in the shoes of a teacher again. And then let's say that it gets so far away,
I
like what
agree.
happens in a classroom gets like far from, I don't know, I don't feel
It
comfortable.
makes sense that you
Yeah,
need
so
to
I
keep
prefer,
in touch.
so I keep a few classes
Okay.
every semester. So
Great.
I have students, not that I don't have many students, but I do have students. And I think it's important so that I can still feel, and for example, I'm the one to choose the books to use at my school. And then I like to test them to see if they really
Yes.
work. Not only to observe the lessons and say something about. So I think it's important to be more in touch with students too, to really feel like what is happening.
And I assume you work more than 8 hours a day.
Yeah, kind of. It depends on the day. Depends on the day, yeah.
Yeah, we all do, right?
Yeah, it depends on the day. Yeah, being an entrepreneur is not easy, you
Not
know.
easy.
Yeah, so because I mean, you have school too,
Yeah.
and then we didn't talk about the administrative part
I
too.
teach around 6 to 8 classes per day.
Yeah, I don't teach that much.
Yeah. So
Not
I
anymore.
teach a lot, So that's something that I am trying to change, to have less students so I can, focus in other areas. But at the moment, I have 6 to 8 classes per day. So it's a lot,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's a lot. And I still need to do the, administrative part. So it's not easy.
Marcelo, my partner, he always says that we teach more than we should and less than we wanted.
Exactly.
That's what we do at Caltabiano. He's a teacher too, but his major is in business.
In business.
So it's a good combination.
Yes.
So he takes care of the business part of the school. But of course, I'm his partner. We make decisions together.
Mm-hmm.
So we have meetings and everything. So we work so much.
Yes.
But we both would like to teach more.
Yes. I
But
love
we have the
teaching.
sensation that
Yeah.
we teach more than we should.
I love teaching, so I'll probably never stop. You know, like I'll
Yeah.
never stop having at least, you know, 3 students per day. You know, 2-3 students per day. I think I would like to have it.
We both
know?
continue
Yeah.
teaching.
I don't want to stop. Like say, hey, no, I don't teach anymore. Like you said, you start to be very far from that position, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I totally agree with you. Nice. And one question about like teacher training, right? Which is the area that the teachers struggle the most?
Oh, that's a difficult one. Depends a lot.
Depends a lot, right?
Yeah, it depends on the teacher, depends on the background, depends on the context.
Mm-hmm.
So that's difficult. But I would say classroom management.
Okay.
If I had to pick one,
To pick one.
I would say classroom management. I think lesson planning is hard, but
Yes.
you might get there because you might have. It's something that you might predict.
And you do it over and over again, right?
Yeah.
Like you keep doing that.
Yes.
So eventually, if you're doing that like with passion, you're gonna start doing it very well.
And you might predict and you can anticipate. To learn
Yes.
how to anticipate. But in terms of dealing with what is happening, sometimes at the moment some things don't work very well, and then it's difficult to manage. When you're talking about classroom management, you talk about time management and many other things that you have to manage. And sometimes I think it's overwhelming to manage so many things at the same time,
It
and
is.
students and different personalities and different things that are happening. So I think this is an area that teachers struggle.
Great. Yeah. I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
now recently also you have to manage internet connections and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Oh,
if you're
yeah.
teaching online.
Yeah.
And students, yesterday I was observing a lesson in which students would join and leave all the time because of their poor connection. And I thought, poor teacher.
Poor teacher.
Yeah, so this is something that you also have to manage, because when students, they reconnect, you have to reintegrate them.
Yes.
You have to welcome them again. You cannot just ignore a student who missed part of what you're
Yes,
saying.
it's true.
So you think of the instructions you're going to give, how you're going to check them, and then 3 students were not there. And when they join the meeting again, you
need to do it again.
You have to do it again somehow, but the others are already doing the task. So this is something that is hard to manage
It is.
in online
It is.
lessons. You're absolutely right.
And also when they turn off their camera, right, and turn off their microphone.
Don't say anything about it.
Well, then they cannot teach you, you know? Like when you have like 8 students and 2 of them are not, they don't have their camera and they mute the microphone. So,
and then
well,
you don't know if they're there.
yes,
you
don't know
what is
like
happening,
if you should integrate them or not. So, and that's hard. Talking about online classes, right?
Yes.
Do you miss teaching face to face?
Yes.
Me too.
Yes.
Me
Yes.
too.
I have one CELTA course, which is face-to-face now.
Okay.
So every Friday I'm teaching face-to-face.
Oh,
and
this is
I
nice.
love it.
I like the environment, you know,
Yeah, it's
having
so
a
nice.
coffee, talking to the students.
Yeah.
It's really nice.
Yeah, because something that I haven't done. So I since 2020, I have given some courses for teachers, like the one I'm giving this afternoon, which were face-to-face, and nothing else. Only courses for teachers and mini courses only.
Okay.
No regular courses.
Your school is still open.
Now we are only online.
Only online,
because
okay.
we have given courses for teachers for other schools. The courses we used to have at Caltabiano are only online now.
Okay.
Even teachers are not from São Paulo anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the teacher trainers, for example, she was from São José, and she would come every Friday to teach the certificates like CAE and CPE. And then when the pandemic happened, she started teaching online.
And now
and
she's
then
online.
she continued, and then we had other teachers from other places, and then they continue teaching online, and then now we have students from other places too,
Yeah.
not only from São Paulo, and then it doesn't make sense.
No, it
because,
doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense to have
Just like us, we do
uh,
not have a place. We're only
we,
online.
yeah.
We have in company classes that are face to face.
We have just one
In
That-
company.
in company that is face to face. All
Okay.
the others, they became like
Online.
They started being
Yeah.
on.
I really like online classes. I really do. But sometimes we miss face to face because of the human.
Human
Yeah.
contact.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the past, my school, it would be like courses for teachers would be face to face. The other things would be like face to face in company lessons and course for teachers, but they would be in company, not at my school.
Mm-hmm.
And on Fridays, would have like courses for teachers at our premises. And then after the pandemic, the in company lessons they started being online.
Yes.
And the companies, they don't have the spaces they used to have anymore.
Yes.
That's why now they're online. And then, as I mentioned, the teachers are not having the online face-to-face lessons anymore either. So
Yeah.
the market has really changed.
But it enhances your life quality, right? I think it's much better to teach from home.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, then
No.
everybody has more time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do agree. Great, Bruna. Thank you very much for
Thank
being
you.
here. It was great to talk to you. Stefan, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Bruna, for being here. We're going to watch a few hours lesson from her right now.
Thank you.
If
I
you
hope
like
it.
if you like the podcast, subscribe our channel, and we will be back next month. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. See
Thank
you.
you.
Bye bye.
Thank you.